We just got a selection box, a new ban list that gave us a lot more than it took from us, and we get a new mini box. Man, we're eating good, bro. So this should be the last box before the new world, and it has some real heat in it, and I'm not going to talk about every individual card here, but I am going to talk about what's worth talking about, whether or not you should give a damn about the cards in here, and why you should give a damn. I think that if nothing else, you should care about the XC support that this box gives. We got some really good generic stuff that rank 4 decks can take advantage of, including 3 new XCs, some main deck cards that support the mechanic as well. Most important card in the whole box is Castell, the Skyblaster Musketeer. This is a generic rank 4, it has 2 effects that you could choose from. The first is you can detach a material to flip something down. The second is you can detach 2 materials to shuffle something back into the deck. Most of the time you'll just be using that second effect to remove a monster from the field completely, which puts it at odds against other rank 4s that remove things, most notably Malevolent Sin. This card pretty much entirely replaces it unless you lock yourself into numbers or dark monsters. So if you're trying to keep up with the XCs game, then you gotta go through this box at least one time to get one copy of this guy. Before I talk about the next 2 XCs, I gotta talk about the skill that the current event just gave us. Barian Battle Morph, number over 100. You can use this skill any turn except for the very first turn of the duel. Kinda unfortunate that they won't let you use it turn 1 if you went first, but if you went second, you can use it right away. You can activate it if you have just 1 Xyz on the field, and that Xyz is a number monster between 101 and 107, and isn't a chaos number monster either. Depending on whether or not you are playing as a leader or a Garag when you use this skill, the skill is going to turn you into Barian mode. No, not that Barian mode. The actual effect of the skill is that it puts rank up magic Barian Force face down on your field from outside of your deck, and while it's on the field you can only summon monsters that have the same attributes as monsters that are already on your field when you activate this skill. The skill can also reset your extra deck resources, but that isn't really that important here. What's important is that we've gotten a skill that can basically search rank up magic Barian's Force for us. The Barian's Force itself basically ranks up your Xyz by 1 rank into an Xyz that has a C or CXYZ in its name. And if your opponent has an Xyz, then it steals one of their materials and puts it on your newly summoned Chaos Xyz. Why this is important is that we just got the Chaos version of Giant Hand, number C106 Giant Red Hand. Number 106 Giant Hand is an Earth attribute rank 4, and this is an Earth attribute Chaos rank 5, so Barian's Force can help us go into this. It also has a quick effect that responds to any card being activated that negates all other cards currently face up on the field for the rest of the turn. The regular Giant Hand detaches 2 materials to target and negate 1 monster, but the Chaos Giant Red Hand detaches 1 material to not only negate anything, but negate everything else that's currently on the field for the turn. And this can be a great interruption, and it can also be a great way to bait out interruption before summoning other things. Cards put on the field after this won't be negated by it. This is a big win for any rank 4 deck that doesn't need a specific skill. The skill I mentioned before won't exactly work, however, for this next Xyz. However, if you've got some light attribute level 4 on the field before using the skill, if that's the way the skill works, while, let's say you control Giant Hand, you could then summon Utopia, then use Barian's Force on the Utopia to make the new C39 Utopia Ray V. As long as it has a Utopia as material, you can detach a material to target and destroy an opponent's monster, and burn the opponent for half that monster's attack. And since there isn't once per turn, you could pop their whole field and burn them, and then attack in with this for game. To be honest with you, if this guy comes out and resolves, it's definitely lights out for your opponent that turn. But you're crazy if you think your opponent's just gonna let you do it, bro. They're gonna stop it if they can. It's probably best to focus on the Giant Red Hand if you're trying to use this skill, because that can negate their things that would try to stop you. It's also worth mentioning that Giant Red Hand, since it only needs to detach 1 material, you could use the Giant Hand and negate turn 1, then you could rank it up into Giant Red Hand, and then it will still have the 1 material it needs to negate, that being the regular Giant Hand. I also think that you could potentially play copies of Barian's Force in your deck so you might be able to use it more, and have the one the skill gives you as a bonus. We aren't done with the XC support though. We also got Generation Force. It's a normal spell that searches any card with Xyz in the name, but you have to control an Xyz to activate. In a fish deck, you could use the Buzzsaw Shark combo to summon another fish from deck, and then use them both to summon any given rank 4 into the extra monster zone. Use Generation Force to search Xyz Remora, detach both materials from that Xyz to summon the Xyz Remora from hand. The Remora will then special summon both of those materials back onto the field. Their effects will be negated, and they have to be used to summon only water Xyz. You could use Generation Force to search Xyz block. Ordinarily not very good because you'd need to play 3 to draw it consistently, and you can't rely on that because it's going to brick you. But if you're going to use Generation Force anyway to search other things, you might consider playing 1 copy of this, and just in case you already have what you would have searched for, and you'd have another interruption. Technically, Generation Force was already in the game as a selection box exclusive. I didn't really see any play even with the possibilities I mentioned just now. But there's a chance it may see play now with a new event card, Xyz Import. It's a quick play spell that attaches an opponent's monster to an Xyz you control that has the same or more attack than the monster you're trying to suck up. This can be a bonus interruption, but can also be a way to refuel your Xyz effects, and the fact that it is a quick play spell means that if it's your turn and you're trying to, for example, bait out the opponent's interruptions with your Xyz, and they go to remove the Xyz from the field, you could use the import to take one of their monsters down with your Xyz. There is a chance that this whole package may flop, but there is a potential for it. The Utopia theme also gets more Zexal weapons here, V Salamander and DZW Chimera Clad. Neither of these give the Utopia theme what it needs to succeed though. What Utopia really needs is a way to go into Leo turn 1. In this new box, we get the new and improved Blackluster Soldier, Legendary Swordsman. Not gonna lie to you though guys, this guy is not worth talking about. The only improvement this guy has is that he does at least turn your opponent's effects off during the battle phase, and he can help search for the ritual spell that summons him, but everything he actually does is during the battle phase, and we are well past that being relevant in dueling, especially for the cost of ritual summoning. It'd be better if we just forgot that this was here. I know that BLS got a new skill that helps with consistency, but it doesn't really matter. Being consistent isn't enough to make something good if what you're consistently doing is nothing. Some time ago I made a video about Toons, saying that they might be better if we get a skill to support them, and the TCG support cards as well. Well, we got a skill that not only searches Toon World, but lets us normal summon our Toons without tributes. The new box also gives us a whole bunch of power and consistency. Toon Bookmark can pretty much search anything and protect the Toon World. Toon BLS is some fantastic removal and a huge body, especially with the protection of Toon Kingdom. Toon Briefcase is a nice searchable way to interrupt the opponent, and Comic Hand is some great searchable removal. This box also has some pretty good reprints for Toons that's going to be helpful too. Pretty much all you need for Toons is this box and the level up rewards from Maximilian Pegasus. I'm looking forward to playing this and making a video about it. Duel Avatar got a couple cards in here, but to be real with you, they really don't solve the deck's issues, and they don't really make the deck better in any other way, at least at my first glance. So yet again, Duel Avatar is worth ignoring. I think we've beaten around the bush enough. It's time for the main event, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to talk about Tenyis. If you guys play any of the other formats of Yu-Gi-Oh, you may know how good the Tenyi engine can be in other worm-based decks, or even in Xyz or Synchro decks. But pure Tenyi shouldn't be slept on either. This deck can put up some pretty good board. At the same time as this box is released, we're also getting one of their boss monsters limited to one in a bundle, Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, which responds to monster effects by banishing them. It gets to attack a second time on monsters with an attack buff from the first monster it destroyed. The Tenyi theme is focused around special summoning monsters from hand while they control no effect monsters, and activating effects from hand or grave while they control a non-effect monster. And they can get that done because they have extra deck monsters with no effects. They also have extra deck monsters that do have effects though, and the whole strategy overall ends up putting some pretty respectable boards on the field. Thankfully though, we didn't get the more broken cards from the archetype. This archetype might be used as an engine in other decks though. Sometimes being special summonable with the right level is all you need to be good, and the fact that they have upside in the grave if you control a non-effect monster makes them better than regular extenders. The fact that they are worms also means that they might work well together with the Yang Zings. The Yang Zings have been in the game for a while but haven't really seen competitive success. There's a chance that the Tenyis were the push that they needed. Draco Berserker of the Tenyi though, it being a level 8 synchro that's limited to 1, it obviously is going to compete with Crystal Wing Synchro Dragons since they are both limited to 1. And really, if your deck can summon Crystal Wing, a negate and destroy is usually going to be better than a response that banishes and doesn't negate. That said though, if your synchro deck can't summon Crystal Wing for whatever reason, it is going to be worth having this. Responding by banishing the monster activating its effect is much better than it might initially seem. For example, if the opponent activates Rocket Tracer, you can banish it in response, and that's one less monster for them to work with. I think that this new release is really gas. We had a lot to talk about in this video, even though it's only a mini box. I'm most excited for Toons and Tenyi, and I'm also looking forward to building a new Shark deck with a new Xyz support. Let us know your thoughts on this box in the comments and we can talk about it. What card do you want most from this box? How do you rate this box out of 10? If you like the video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notified every time we make a new video, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake but it ain't on me. Got clean so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.